You wake up before sunrise, the air is cold enough to sting your skin, and the only sound is the soft crackling of a dying fire. There is no alarm clock, no glowing screen, no schedule written on a calendar. Yet your body already knows it is time to move. For more than 95% of human history, this was how every morning began. Long before cities, roads, or electricity, your ancestors lived according to rhythms shaped by sunlight, weather, hunger, and one another. Surprisingly, many of the habits that once kept them alive still influence your thoughts, emotions, and daily routines today. Modern life often feels completely different from the Stone Age. Food arrives with a tap on a screen. Light fills every room long after sunset. Temperature barely changes indoors. But beneath all of these inventions, your brain is still running software written hundreds of thousands of years ago. Could some of your everyday behaviors make more sense when viewed through the lives of your prehistoric ancestors? One of the strangest habits begins almost immediately after waking. Your ancestors rarely jumped straight into intense work. Instead, mornings often started slowly. Anthropologist Richard B. Lee observed among the Ju-Hwanzi people of southern Africa, whose traditional hunter-gatherer lifestyle has provided valuable insights into ancient human behavior, that mornings frequently involved conversation, repairing tools, sharing plans, and quietly preparing for the day. These communities are not living fossils, but they offer clues about behaviors that may have deep evolutionary roots. This slower beginning was practical. Overnight temperatures could be dangerously cold. Animals behaved differently before sunrise. Group coordination mattered more than individual speed. Rather than rushing, people gathered information. Who had spotted animal tracks yesterday? Which fruits were ripening? Had predators been nearby? Every conversation increased the group's chances of survival. How often do you wake up and immediately reach for your phone? That instinct to seek information may not be entirely new. Only the source has changed. Another surprising habit was constant movement without structured exercise. Your ancestors almost never worked out in the modern sense. There were no gyms, treadmills, or fitness challenges. Instead, movement was woven into nearly every task. Walking several miles, climbing hills, carrying children, digging edible roots, collecting firewood, and tracking animals all happened naturally throughout the day. Research by evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman suggests that the human body evolved for frequent, moderate movement rather than long periods of sitting, interrupted by short bursts of intense exercise. Walking was not exercise. It was simply life. Imagine never sitting in a chair for 8 straight hours. How different might your body feel? Food itself followed habits that would seem unusual today. Breakfast was never guaranteed. Some mornings, there was plenty to eat. Other days, there was almost nothing. Hunter-gatherers often experienced natural variation in food availability. Rather than eating according to the clock, they ate according to opportunity. This unpredictability shaped remarkable flexibility. Human metabolism evolved to handle periods without food surprisingly well. That does not mean starvation was healthy or desirable. It means your ancestors survived because their bodies could temporarily switch energy sources when necessary. Today's constant access to snacks is historically unprecedented. Your appetite still reflects a world where the next meal was never certain. Sharing food may have been even more important than finding it. Archaeological evidence from sites such as Blombos Cave in South Africa and ethnographic research by James Sussman suggest that cooperation was one of humanity's greatest survival strategies. Successful hunters often shared meat throughout the group instead of keeping it for themselves. At first, this seems irrational. Why give away hard-earned food? Because tomorrow, someone else might be the successful hunter. Sharing created security against bad luck. Over time, generosity became an investment in future survival. Human societies developed strong expectations around fairness long before written laws existed. Even today, celebrations almost always involve shared meals. Could that ancient instinct still shape your strongest social bonds? Children experienced an upbringing that would seem astonishing by modern standards. They were rarely confined to classrooms or constant adult supervision. Instead, they learned through observation, imitation, exploration, and play. Psychologist Peter Gray has argued that free play allowed children to develop problem-solving skills, cooperation, creativity, and confidence. Young humans watched older children, teenagers, and adults performing real tasks every day. Learning happened continuously rather than inside designated lessons. Imagine learning fire making because your family's dinner depended on it. Mistakes carried real consequences, but they also produced genuine understanding. One habit that surprises many researchers involves sleep. Ancient humans did not necessarily sleep in one uninterrupted 8-hour block. Historical evidence and sleep research suggest segmented sleep may have been common before artificial lighting became widespread. People often fell asleep shortly after dark, woke for a period during the night, then returned to sleep before sunrise. The discovery of electricity dramatically reshaped these natural patterns. Your body still produces melatonin in response to darkness because millions of years of evolution cannot be rewritten in a few generations. Another unusual daily habit was storytelling. Stories were not simply entertainment, they were survival technology. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner documented how evening storytelling among hunter-gatherer societies frequently shifted from practical daytime discussions toward myths, social lessons, and moral narratives after sunset. Around the fire, knowledge passed from one generation to the next without books. A story about a dangerous river might prevent future accidents. A tale about a selfish hunter could reinforce cooperation. A legend about the stars might help travelers navigate. Your brain remembers stories far better than isolated facts, because stories were once how almost everything important was transmitted. Have you ever remembered a movie scene more easily than a textbook paragraph? Your ancestors probably would have understood why. Perhaps the strangest habit of all involved doing nothing. Modern culture often celebrates constant productivity. Stone Age life certainly demanded hard work, but anthropological studies repeatedly found that hunter-gatherers were not endlessly occupied every waking hour. Richard B. Lee estimated that some hunter-gatherer groups spent significantly fewer hours gathering food than many modern people spend working full-time jobs. though the exact amount varied widely depending on environment and season. The remaining time involved conversation, crafting, childcare, resting, singing, dancing, repairing tools, and strengthening relationships. Survival depended on social connection just as much as physical labor. A perfectly sharpened spear meant little without trustworthy companions. This brings us to another unexpected behavior. Conflict was often handled through conversation long before violence. Many small hunter-gatherer societies developed elaborate methods for reducing tension because long-term cooperation was essential. People who constantly fought threatened everyone else's survival. Humor frequently became an important social tool. Teasing could reduce arrogance. Jokes could ease disagreements. Laughter strengthened trust. Modern neuroscience shows that shared laughter releases chemicals associated with bonding and positive emotion. Those reactions likely served practical purposes long before comedy clubs existed. Your ancestors also paid extraordinary attention to nature, not casually, constantly. They recognized bird calls, animal tracks, seasonal flowers, cloud formations, wind direction, insect behavior, and subtle changes in the landscape. Every observation could provide valuable information. A broken branch might reveal a passing deer. Silent birds might signal a nearby predator. Fresh footprints could determine whether to continue or change direction. Compare that to walking through a city while barely noticing the trees overhead. Your attention evolved in wilderness, even if your daily environment no longer requires it. Personal possessions were surprisingly limited. Most people owned only what they could carry. Every object required time and skill to create. Stone blades, bone needles, wooden spears, leather bags, decorated shells. Each item had genuine value because replacing it was difficult. Archaeological discoveries from sites including Blombos Cave reveal that symbolic objects such as engraved ochre and shell beads appeared tens of thousands of years ago. These artifacts suggest humans were already expressing identity, memory, and social belonging long before agriculture. Even then, people cared about appearance, not because of fashion magazines, because social identity mattered. Your ancestors also spent remarkably little time alone. Humans evolved as an intensely social species. Throughout most of prehistory, complete isolation could be dangerous. Companions provided protection, knowledge, emotional support, childcare, and cooperation. Modern loneliness, therefore, creates psychological stress, partly because prolonged isolation would have signaled serious danger throughout evolutionary history. Could that explain why meaningful conversations often improve your mood more than scrolling through endless content? Perhaps the most surprising daily habit involved curiosity. Children explored unfamiliar plants. Adults investigated strange tracks. Groups experimented with new hunting techniques. Innovation accumulated slowly across generations. One successful idea could spread through families and eventually across continents. Without that curiosity, humans might never have crossed deserts, climbed mountains, built boats, or reached Australia more than 50,000 years ago. Science increasingly reveals that curiosity itself became one of humanity's greatest survival tools. None of these habits made your ancestors primitive. They made them astonishingly adaptable. They survived ice ages, droughts, predators, disease, and constantly changing environments using cooperation, observation, creativity, and shared knowledge. The Stone Age was not a time of simple people. It was a time that demanded extraordinary intelligence, expressed in ways very different from modern life. Every heartbeat, every craving for companionship, every fascination with stories, every instinct to explore, every emotional response to fairness carries echoes of that distant past. Your smartphone is new, your apartment is new, your morning commute is new, but the mind experiencing all of those things was shaped over hundreds of thousands of years before any of them existed. The next time you wake before your alarm, feel drawn toward a campfire on a camping trip, lose track of time while telling stories with friends, instinctively share food during a celebration, or feel calmer after walking through nature, remember that these moments are not random. They are quiet reminders of a world your ancestors knew intimately. You may live surrounded by technology, but beneath every modern convenience lives a Stone Age brain that still remembers how to survive, how to connect, and how to belong. And tomorrow morning, when the first light reaches your eyes before the rest of the world fully wakes, you might recognize that ancient rhythm once again, not as a relic of the past, but as a living part of yourself,